bi-weekly Dharma talk and guided meditation here at the Blue Lotus Meditation and Mindfulness Center. We're located in central Minnesota, in Brainerd, Minnesota. So if you're familiar with that area, you're always welcome to come visit us in person if you like. Otherwise, you're certainly welcome to join us virtually as well. So today is May 12th. It's 6 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. And some brief announcements just before we begin our Dharma talk for this evening and guided meditation. Excuse me. So we do have our aspirant pathway. If you are certainly interested in helping others and helping yourself as well with the Dharma and helping spread the Dharma and Buddhism and meditation and certainly mindfulness as well. Our aspirant pathway, may be an opportunity for you to consider. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a matter of time to invest, in yourself, with classes and meetings and so forth. Virtual meetings, if you're able, for most of everyone, but some in-person meetings for graduation, if advancing to the novice level, if that's something that you may be interested in. But go ahead and check out our continue your journey on our website, and you'll find out more about that aspirant pathway. Our June schedule is going to be a bit abbreviated. We will be in Cambodia for the month of June, and so the typical schedule of ours that we do a live Dharma talk. For June, we'll be rebroadcasting some favorites during that month, and so you're certainly welcome to enjoy them as well and participate in them as you normally would. And I'll be able to check the comments and the activity, overseas, but I can't, promise 100% that I would be able to get internet connection where I would be and our normal schedule. So, but do keep checking back, because, you'll certainly find updates and little video clips, while we were there. We're doing some training with the monks and learning more skillful techniques as well, so that we can bring them back and, relate them here and pass them on here to everyone. So yeah, feel free to join us for those rebroadcasts if you like. And let's begin with the 3 jewels before we begin our service this evening. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Very good. So tonight's talk is the value of kindness. And probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was listening to a gentleman talk and just talking about kindness in general and how, it seems like that value or that trait has diminished to somewhat, because very often it is somebody may expect some type of reciprocation for kindness. And is that really kindness if we are expecting a return, for our actions? So I thought we would explore that for tonight's Dharma talk, the value of kindness. I think it's something to really focus on, especially in these, trying and turbulent times that we all exist in these days. And that will certainly be supplemented by our guided meditation this evening of ordinary kindness. And how can we practice ordinary kindness just throughout our everyday moments, everyday interactions with others? So let's begin by taking a moment to settle our bodies into that comfortable position as we get ready for our guided meditation on ordinary kindness. You may close your eyes or keep them slightly open with a soft focus, looking downward a few feet in front of you if you choose. Breathe in Pause and breathe out. And at this time, you are certainly invited to allow a half smile to rest on your face. Allow your spine to lift and your shoulders to soften. And soften your belly as you continue settling in. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. And let's meditate and bring our attention to simply offering ordinary kindness. And although this is a practice in cultivating loving kindness, it can also help you let go of overthinking and concentrate on the mind. And pick one person that you encounter during your day today. Whoever grabs your attention, it could be any individual. The mailman, the grocery store employee, anyone. And recognize that this is a person with hopes, dreams, fears, regrets, memories, and loved ones. And just like you, this person wants to be happy. And offer a simple phrase of loving kindness in your head, such as, "May you live with ease today." And as you were internally thinking of this person, did anyone else come to mind from today? Maybe you thought of several people. And simply, kindly go ahead and move your awareness to this next person and repeat, "May you live with ease today." And allow yourself to enjoy the practice of dropping this warm energy on the other people that you see. And for the next moment or so, bring your awareness to one or more people and offer them that same phrase. "May you live with ease today." And now let's redirect our attention onto ourselves. And you can now offer yourself a little kindness. May I live with ease today. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. And go ahead and begin to open your eyes and maybe adjust your body if you like. Settle yourself into a different position. It's up to you. Too often we go about our day with not only not interacting with others, but not even being aware of their existence. If you're a video game player, like my daughter, we may observe people as, even if we don't see them, or even if we do see them, as those NPCs, non-playing characters. And that takes away so much from our own internal capacity for kindness when we view someone as irrelevant, right? Just off in the distance, a part of scenery. And that takes away human dignity and value when we do that. So we need to focus our energies, our minds, and our awareness to what in Buddhism, Mettā, Mettā, right? It's just simply loving kindness or goodwill. And certainly, not only in Buddhism, but in many religions, kindness is a core value. And it encompasses, and the word metta, it encompasses a pure, non-possessive love and a wish for the well-being of all living beings, including yourself, right? You know, what we would want for ourselves, we would want for others. And what we want for others, we should also want for ourselves. And metta, loving kindness or goodwill, is cultivated through meditation and daily interactions. Right? So that means looking inward in our daily mindfulness meditation practice and having daily interactions. Or maybe if you don't go out every day, but certainly when you go grocery shopping, clothes shopping, or even just on the street, having a daily interaction, just a smile, a hello, how do you do? Recognizing others, not as non-playing characters, but as human beings, just like in the guided meditation, right? Hopes, dreams, family members, loved ones. Everybody has them, just like you do. And with those daily interactions, we can foster a compassionate and understanding mindset. People have difficulties. People have challenges in their lives. And we may not think it, but a simple hello and acknowledgement has the ability to change someone's day from something negative to something positive, an affirmation of their existence. And metta, loving kindness or goodwill, it's not dependent on others' actions or their worthiness or their familiarity. It's a deliberate inner orientation of your own heart. we have to make that change of focusing that warm light, those positive affirmations towards or outwards towards others. So we need to change our hearts sometimes. Instead of perhaps delving into cynicism or malaise or aversion to other suffering. So it's a deliberate action, right thought. Part of the noble eightfold path. So we can open up our own hearts. We can generate metta for those not only near to us in close proximity, but worldwide, to all living beings. And why does this matter? Well, within us, it builds emotional resilience, right? By shifting our mindsets from fear and anger and resentment to connection and compassion. We see a lot of videos, even if they are only those negative highlights, but we see a lot of little clips of just negative interactions, people being angry, people being fearful of many different types of situations. And that builds resentment within us and with others. And so when we generate metta, loving kindness within us, again, that's that deliberate change in our heart, or reorientating the direction of our heart to one of connection and compassion towards all living beings. And that can be hard to do sometimes, right? I know there's some, and I don't remember what platform it's on, but sometimes you see those little mentions of acts of petty revenge, right? And those are kind of just, they are petty revenge. And think about that pettiness. Maybe somebody blocked your driveway. Maybe somebody accidentally stepped on your flowers or whatnot. And you get some petty revenge. That does not build connection and compassion in a wholesome way. It builds that anger and resentment. In metta, loving kindness, the value of kindness, which is what we're speaking about. This is the value right here. It also enhances our own well-being, right? It enhances and strengthens our own well-being within. So we are not so angry. We are not so cynical. We begin to care about others because we can identify that others have those same fears and hopes and dreams, capacity for love and kindness, just like us. And, the Buddha certainly has shown us, right, that loving kindness and meditation certainly increases those positive emotions, also reducing stress and boosting empathy towards others. It's just a natural byproduct of caring. When we practice kindness, right, loving kindness, empathy and compassion towards all living beings, it's a natural byproduct of those actions, of changing the direction of our heart from one of being closed to one of being open, to being forgiving. And certainly when we are kind towards others, right, it certainly reduces hostilities and biases, right, towards others, simply because it promotes that empathy across varying lines of differences between people, whether it's racial or political, socioeconomic, gender identification, sexuality, right? Reduces those biases, because it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what country you live in. Every human being has the same emotions that you do. And when we can understand that about others, we can open our heart towards others. Again, we enhance and nurture our own well-being. So how do we go about doing this? Right? What practices? Certainly with those metta meditations or mindfulness meditations on loving kindness, right? Metta, loving kindness. We can, just like that guided meditation we did earlier, right? Repeating phrases to ourselves. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May you be safe. And may you live with ease. And then directing those comments, those statements, towards others, towards loved ones, towards neutral people, towards difficult people, and all of humanity and living beings in between. It's important that we also include people that we dislike. Metta, or loving kindness, does not discriminate. It's not only for your friends and people that you like. Loving kindness, compassion, and empathy are for all. And that's what sometimes makes it difficult for others to embrace. How can I be kind to somebody who has trespassed against me? Just like even in the Lord's Prayer, right? Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Again, many religions, many philosophies talk about kindness and forgiveness. Buddhism is no different. And when we open up our minds in this sense, right, we can see that there are so many more similarities than differences. Other practices, random acts of kindness, right? Small daily actions, right? I'm always a big fan of smiling at strangers. Again, you never know who's having a bad day. Offering to help. If I see a car broken on the side of the road, stopped on the side of the road with their hazard lights, I still stop. I get looked at like, man, you don't even know these people. You're right, I don't. But I know how I would feel if I were trapped in a location and maybe my cell phone didn't work or something. I would want somebody to help me out. And so when we have kindness, we're also fearless. Right? Or even simply just listening, right? When someone is talking to you, right? Just listening attentively. And practicing self-kindness, right? Learning to speak to yourself, with that same care that you would to someone else. Too often we are very, a lot more kind, or even give more leeway to someone else, but are too hard on ourselves. So we have to practice self-kindness as well. To generate kindness throughout the world, we also have to be kind to ourselves. But there are some common misconceptions when people think about kindness. And really one of the biggest ones is thinking that kindness is weakness, right? It's often assumed that kindness is weakness. But loving kindness, again, is courageous. Like I said, when, if I see a car broken on the side of the road, I'm not afraid of what's going to happen, right? If somebody needs help, I'll be more than happy to help them. That's up to you to decide if that's what you want to do. But there are plenty of opportunities to practice loving kindness. But it is courageous because it removes fear within us. And it's an active choice to respond with compassion, even when it's difficult. Again, it may be someone that you don't particularly like, or you're having a significant disagreement with. So kindness is not weakness, right? It's a courageous action because you are choosing to open your heart instead of sealing it off. Another misconception is that kindness means approval, and it does not mean approval. You can have loving kindness towards someone while holding your boundaries and even disagreeing with their behavior. We cannot control other people's actions. We can only control ours. And so we can always have loving kindness to someone. We don't have to approve what they do. A lot of families have that, right? He's your brother. You don't have to like your brother, but he's still family, right? So we don't have to agree or approve of somebody's actions. We're just opening up loving kindness, our heart, to them as a human being. So where does this lead us? What are the social implications? Well, certainly increases cooperation. If you are fearless because of your loving kindness, you're more inclined to help someone, especially when you can empathize with maybe their personal situation or even a group situation. It reduces prejudice because we understand that everyone on this planet has hopes and dreams and fears and love and family. And so we can identify with that because we have those same feelings. And it fosters a sense of global citizenship. And too often we isolate ourselves, especially when we are distant, location-wise, from others. So it strengthens and fosters that global citizenship for all of us. And loving kindness applied to groups or systems like marginalized communities can also be a form of compassion-based activism. Recognizing certain groups that may be less fortunate than you are, and you're helping them out. Reminds me of a saying or an idea that people don't oftentimes remember what you said, maybe even not always remember what you did, but they will always remember how you made them feel. So when we can generate and nurture those good, wholesome qualities, people will remember that. And how do we integrate this into our daily lives? Right? Certainly with mindful meditation, right? But we can begin the day with that loving kindness intention. When we wake up, I intend to practice metta, or loving kindness, to myself or to yourself, and to all those that you encounter, and all of the others, all of the other beings in the world. And then using moments of frustration, right, as reminders to offer compassion inward and outward. You may get frustrated or flustered even with yourself. So offer yourself some compassion. Somebody maybe, stumbling a little bit and causing you some frustration. Maybe they're driving a little slow, or maybe you thought that they should have tried to beat the light, which is unsafe, so don't do it. But offer them compassion as well. And then at the end of the day, just reflect, right? Well, where did you offer that love today? And where could it have been softened? Right? Who did you share your loving kindness with? And then were there others, perhaps that same person who frustrated you a little bit? Right? Where could you have been a little bit more soft? So something to think about as you go about your day tomorrow and the upcoming days after that. Something to think about and practice. You may not be successful every single day, especially if it's a new habit, right? If it's a new mindset. It takes time. So that's where we don't allow ourselves too much frustration. We recognize, I forgot to offer Mettā today to this person who was frustrating me, or even to yourself. Try again. Keep trying. You'll get there. And remembering also, circle back a little bit, there are no non-playing characters, no NPCs on this planet. All right, my friends. Well, I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. Our next talk is on the 28th or the 29th. I can't see my calendar. In 2 weeks. It's a Monday. It's like the 28th or the 29th, I think. Or let's see, 14. Oh, be the 24th. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. And we'll be talking about our bodies and our mind and the Dharma and how they all play together. Certainly when we have expectations about ourselves and how that all comes to fruition. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, or what we would consider good or bad. But we'll explore that more in about 2 weeks. So again, thank you all for coming out this evening. I wish you many blessings, and feel free to reach out to us with any support that you may need. Take care, my friends.